As a musician, worship leader, I've always been fascinated by the book of Psalms. I think it gives us such a beautiful example of what worship is really supposed to look like. It's not, us pretending before God. It's us bringing everything of what we are, the hurts, the sorrow, the lament, the joy, everything in between. We're bringing it before God and we're laying it at his feet. I just started studying the life of David, and he's the one who wrote most of the Psalms. And it's been fascinating to me to see what David was really going through when he wrote these Psalms, because it's not usually actually what we would expect. I was just looking at Psalm 52, and it has this beautiful verse that says, "But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever." What a beautiful picture, right? To be an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. I think all of us would be like, yes, I would love to be that confident to say, I am like an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. I think we read that and we think, man, David must have been on a high. He must have been in a great place, like a place where he could see God's faithfulness all over him. No, actually, when you look in the book of 1 Samuel, you see that when David wrote this psalm, he had just found out that Saul, his king, who was trying to kill him, had just slaughtered 85 priests, their entire family, women, children, babies. It says he slaughtered them all just because David had sought help from one of them when he was fleeing from Saul. So David is actually writing this from a place of extreme burden, of facing this immense evil that's going on around him. And I believe he gives us this beautiful example of what we are supposed to do in the face of evil, in the face of injustice. He actually laments before he says these things about being an olive tree, right? He says things like, "The righteous will see and fear. They will laugh at you, saying, 'Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth and grew strong by destroying others.'" So he calls it for what it is. He calls out the evil. He places the blame not on God for the evil, but on man where it was meant to be. But he also turns around and he says, despite all of these things, I am like an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. How can we get there? How do we get to that place of making that our proclamation in the midst of evil and injustice? I think we do that by knowing that God is faithful, by trusting that he is good even in the midst of evil, and knowing that God will see us through. He is our stronghold. He is our place of refuge. And so I just encourage you as you listen to this worship devotional. It's based on Amazing Grace. I kind of pulled that verse of, "Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. His grace has brought me thus far, and grace will lead me home." I encourage you to just think about those times when you just feel overwhelmed by evil or things going on in the world that are unjust, that you would turn to God and you would say, you know what, God, you have brought me safe thus far, and you will bring me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Amazing